Alright, I'm going to go over aiming techniques. So, well, not necessarily techniques, more practice, as well as warm-up for pre-games, things like that. So, ideally, start out on Soldier. It doesn't matter the skin, things like that. I'm glad I got the skin, holy shit. So, you're going to position yourself on this box, and this is going to help with your target acquisition, as well as just, like, getting used to flicks, things like that. So find a neutral position on your mouse pad, so kind of where you hold your mouse naturally. And you're going to find this first bot, and what you're going to do is you're going to rotate through all these bots, click once on their head, as well as this one up top, and you're going to continue that cycle over and over again. So I'll quickly give you a quick demo of what that looks like. So, that's what you want to do. You want to use all 25 bullets, and you just want to go through it as fast as possible. Get as much damage as you can in. Only click once on their head, because if they're dead, again, you're not really getting any practice out of them. So, just rinse and repeat that, and start at different positions. So this one, I'm going to start on the far right of my mouse pad. And that one's dead, so... but that's a good technique to practice. Again, helping you with target acquisition, identifying enemies on the field at different levels. So again, somebody on high ground, somebody below you, somebody on the same level as you. You have all these possibilities. So, last thing, well, not last thing. Another thing is your general tracking. So what you're going to do is you're going to follow a bot's head. Sounds boring, and frankly, it is boring. But it's something that will help with anyone, pretty much any aiming. And this is stuff that, like, you don't necessarily need to think about because you're practicing it. A big thing, like a common problem that a lot of people have, and I see it in main tanks a lot, is that, like, they want to practice their tracking and they want to be better at DPS and things like that. But, like, when they're working in-game, they're thinking a lot more about their aim as opposed to what's going on around them. So when you're practicing outside of the game, and it's just kind of becoming second nature to you, it's a lot more helpful because, I mean, I feel like I don't really have to explain it, but again, you're able to put your mind to what's happening in the game, as well as have solid aim because it's just become muscle memory at that point. Something that you can do to make this one a little bit harder is that this is the best bot to track just because it's at different levels, and he has a bunch of unpredictable movements. But you can switch robots and then identify the next one and track them. And also track them through the wall, things like that. And you'll notice that they have these little, these jagged movements, especially this one on the far end. He'll go here, stop, turn back, go there, stop, turn back, and then go there. And it's to help you with more unpredictable movement in game. So, again, just track their head. I do both of those for 5 minutes before, for my warm-up, as well as I do this, well, not all the time, but as much as I can, I try to do that 20 minutes a day, just to improve things. And they're boring, so slap on some music and see what happens. Just take it in as a practice and go from there. What was the last thing I want to go over? Because those are the two main movement aiming techniques that I do. I don't do any more than that necessarily. The only other one that I kind of do is Tracer 180s. So, I'll find a bot, and I'll 180, and then track their head. I'll identify another one, and again, you just want to track their head. Continuous movement. And just continue. Again, I'm not moving my my hand from the mouse pad, because when you do move it, you have to reset it, right? Which becomes a lot harder on the player. And you can see that, my arm aiming is not nearly as good as my wrist aim. So, when I'm at that distance, I can track a lot smoother. So, obviously I need to be practicing this more often. But that's something that you can do. And then the Tracer 180s, again, I use this right bot because he has the straightest path. I'll wait here. Quickly flick and 180. And then just track his head a little bit. And you'll notice as well, like, since I do wrist aim, there will be a certain point where, and this is a bad habit, where when I 180, I won't be moving, like, aiming anymore. I'll kind of have this little jagged aim, and that's because I've moved my wrist instead of my hand from, instead of my arm for my 180. Because when you move your arm for your 180, you have that neutral position set. So if you do wrist aim, get used to some arm movement as well. The last thing I'll cover for this video, just because, holy crap, I've gone through so many takes of it, is the 3 zones of aiming, and you can use this pad here to help you with it. So there's 3 different levels. You have your fingertip aiming, you have your wrist aiming, and your arm aiming, and you pretty much need to use all of them when going through, like, when playing a game. So up close is your arm aim. Alright? The reason that you have your arm aim here is because it's the easiest to... Hang on a second. Shit, totally forgot what I was about to say. It's easiest to be able to track a large surface with your arm when you're up this close, because if you're using only your wrist for this, and they move to a different position, they have an advantage on you. Just because, again, you've used your wrist, so now you need to reset your neutral position, and I can't really do it without a hand cam. But you need to reset, if you take your hand, right, and you're going to start on the right side of the bot. No, sorry, on the left side of the bot. And you're going to use your D-strafe, and you're just going to use your wrist to go to the other side. Let's say the bot continues to go over there, right? And your wrist is now twisted to the side. You can't twist it much more, right? So you're going to be using your arm aim, and the way that your mouse is positioned is that if you use your arm aim afterwards, you'll actually start to look up because your mouse is like horizontal, right? So it thinks it's tracking upwards. So that's why you need to have your arm aim for this distance. For this middle distance, that's your wrist aim. Right? So again, just practice, strafe back and forth, and just follow the yellow dot if you can, or just as much of the head as you can. And then final one is your fingertip aim. So I use a fingertip grip. I don't know if you guys use a claw or a palm. I'm going to try to use all of them. With a palm, it's a little bit, that's actually a little bit easier for me. But for the fingertip, the reason I use it is that if there's a target, like if my crosshair is here, and there's a target below, I just have to push my, I just pretty much have to swap to a claw grip, and I'll locate my target. Like I have that room, from the back of the mouse to my palm, so I can just sort of slide it, and I can do these little jagged movements. So that's why I use a fingertip, but you can use any grip you want. And at the furthest distance, it's the it's the smallest amount of aim. So again, just get used to tracking it. And then, as well, move in and out and away. And get used to which grip you're using. And just track their head the entire time. So, those are the movement techniques. Those are the things I would recommend practicing. If you have any questions, or if you want things that are more specific for certain heroes, just let me know.